Hey there, comic fans. Welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the pages of Marvel, DC, and everything in between. If you're as hyped as I am about the MCU's Thunderbolts hitting theaters May 2nd, 2025, then you've probably seen the trailers teasing Louis Pullman as Bob Reynolds, aka the Sentry. And if you know your comics, you're probably scratching your head like I am, wondering, how the heck is this ragtag team of antiheroes supposed to take on a guy with the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns? Today, we're diving into this topic, breaking down why, based on the comics, the Thunderbolts facing off against Sentry doesn't make a ton of sense. Grab your coffee, hit that like button, and let's get into it. So let's start with the team itself. In the MCU, Thunderbolts is bringing together Yelena Belova, Bucky Barnes, Red Guardian, Taskmaster, Ghost, US Agent, and maybe a few others, all under the shady thumb of Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. This is a team of misfits, spies, assassins, and super soldiers with chips on their shoulders. They're not exactly the Avengers, and that's the point. In the comics, the Thunderbolts have always been about villains or anti-heroes pretending to be heroes, starting with Baron Zemo's Masters of Evil, posing as a heroic team in Thunderbolts #1 back in 1997. Over the years, they've included heavy hitters like Moonstone, Songbird, or even Norman Osborn leading the Dark Avengers, but they're rarely about raw power. They're scrappy, cunning, and often morally grey. Now, compare that to the MCU lineup. Yelena's a master spy with no superpowers. Bucky's got a vibranium arm and peak human strength, but he's not bench pressing planets. Red Guardian is a Soviet Captain America, tough but not invincible. Taskmaster can mimic fighting styles, Ghost can face through walls, and US Agent is another super soldier with an attitude. These are street-level players, maybe mid-tier at best. In the comics, teams like this rely on teamwork, deception, or exploiting weaknesses. But against someone like Sentry, that's a whole different ball game. Let's talk about why. If you're new to Sentry, let me give you the quick rundown. Bob Reynolds is a regular guy who stumbles into a lab, drinks a mysterious golden Sentry serum, and boom, he's got the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. Created by Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee in the Sentry Show 1 in 2000, he's Marvel's Superman with a twist. He's got a dark side called the Void, a malevolent entity that basically is repressed chaos. Sentry's powers are insane: super strength, flight, invulnerability, energy manipulation, matter control, telepathy, and is practically immortal. He's fought toe-to-toe with Hulk, Thor, and even Galactus, and he doesn't break a sweat. But it's not just raw power that makes Sentry terrifying. In the comics, his mental instability is his real Achilles heel. Bob's a mess, plagued by addiction, self-doubt, and the fear that the Void will take over. In New Avengers numbers 7 to 10, 2005, we see him so scared of his own power that he begs the Avengers to lock him up. And when the Void comes out, forget it. In What If 200, 2011, a Void-controlled Sentry wipes out an entire universe. Heroes, villains, planets, gone. This guy is not just a threat, he's a walking apocalypse. So when the Thunderbolts trailers show Bob causing chaos in New York, turning people into shadows, it's clear they're leaning into the Void as the big bad. But here's where I start raising my eyebrows. How does a team of grounded anti-heroes even stand a chance? Let's break down the power gap because it's massive. In the comics, Sentry is on a level where he's casually tossing around gods and cosmic beings. In World War Hulk 2007, he's the only one who can stop an enraged Hulk, and they nearly destroy Manhattan just trading punches. In Dark Avengers number 13, 2010, he tears through Asgard like it's made of paper. Compare that to the Thunderbolts in their comic runs, they fought threats like Graviton or the Wrecking Crew. Tough, but nowhere near Sentry's league. Even when Norman Osborn recruits Sentry for the Dark Avengers, he's less a teammate and more a nuke they hope doesn't go off. Now look at the MCU team. Bucky's vibranium arm isn't stopping a guy who can punch through dimensions. Yelena's widow bites, cute but Sentry's tanked solar flares. Ghost's phasing might let her dodge a few hits, but Sentry's got energy attacks that could vaporize her. Taskmaster copying his moves. Sentry doesn't need fancy technique when he can level a city with a thought. Red Guardian and US Agent are strong, but they're not even close to Hulk or Thor, who've struggled against Sentry. The comics show us that beating Sentry usually requires cosmic level power or insane strategy, like in Siege 2010, where Thor and the Avengers barely contain him, and only because Bob's psyche cracks. This team, they don't have the firepower or the brain power to pull that off. Okay, let's talk about the Void, because the trailers are screaming that this is the real threat. In the comics, the Void is Sentry's dark half, born from the same serum, but fueled by his fears and trauma. It's not just a villain, it's a force of nature. In the Sentry number 1 to 5, 2000, the Void manipulates reality, kills millions in an alternate timeline, and nearly breaks Bob's mind. To stop it, heroes like Reed Richards and Doctor Strange have to pull out all the stops, telepathic blocks, memory wipes, even banishing Sentry to another dimension. The Void's powers mirror Sentry's, but with extra nastiness, shadow manipulation, mind control, and a knack for breaking everyone around it. The Thunderbolts team doesn't have a single psychic or sorcerer. No Emma Frost, no Doctor Strange. Their best bet might be outsmarting Bob, but the Void's not some thug you can trick with a fake bomb. In Dark Avengers number 3, 2009, Norman Osborn tries manipulating Sentry's mental state, and it backfires spectacularly. Val might be scheming in the MCU, but if she's banking on controlling Bob, she's in for a rude awakening. The comics tell us the Void only goes down when Bob himself fights back, often with help from the heaviest hitters in Marvel. These teams got heart, but they're not equipped for a psychological or cosmic slugfest. Alright, let's play devil's advocate. Could the Thunderbolts pull off an upset? In the comics, underdogs sometimes beat gods through grit and cleverness. Maybe Val's got a secret weapon, say a serum to suppress Sentry's powers, like the one used in New Avengers to mess with his head. Or maybe they exploit Bob's mental fragility, pushing him to suppress the Void himself. Bucky's got experience with brainwashing. Yelena's manipulative. They could try talking Bob down, like Tony Stark does in Civil War 2006. But here's the catch, comic Sentry only loses when he wants to. In Siege, he begs Thor to stop him. In New Avengers, he lets himself be contained. If MCU Bob's fighting back, the Thunderbolts are toast. And if they do win, it risks cheapening Sentry's threat. The comics built him as a god-tier problem, someone who needs Avengers, X-Men, and Fantastic Four to even slow down. If a team of C-listers takes him out in one movie, it's like Batman beating Darkseid with a batarang. It'd feel unearned and mess with the MCU's power scaling going into Avengers Doomsday. So why does this matchup bug me? It's not just the power gap, it's the story logic. The Thunderbolts are about redemption, betrayal, and scrappy teamwork. Sentry is a tragedy about unchecked power and mental health. These themes don't mesh well. In comics, Thunderbolts stories thrive on heists or political intrigue, like in Warren Ellis's run where they're government enforcers. Sentry arcs are cosmic horror, like Annihilation Scourge 2019, where he's a universal reset button. Pitting them together feels like forcing a square peg into a round hole. The MCU could have picked a villain like Zemo or Abomination, someone the Thunderbolts could believably outwit or outfight. Sentry's too big for their first outing. It's like starting a new X-Men team against Magneto's Brotherhood and Apocalypse at the same time. The comic suggests Sentry needs a team-up of Marvel's best, not a squad of misfits. If the movie leans on plot armor or a Deus Ex Machina, it'll undermine both the team and Sentry's debut. Look, I'm still stoked for Thunderbolts. The cast is fire, and I love the vibe of a gritty anti-hero flick. But comics tell us Sentry is a problem you throw the whole Marvel universe at, not a team that's barely got their act together. Maybe the MCU will surprise us with a clever twist, but right now, it's hard to see how they pull this off without bending the rules of Bob's power. What do you think? Can the Thunderbolts take down Sentry? Or is this a mismatch from the jump? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that subscribe button, and let's keep geeking out over comics. Until next time, stay nerdy.